Monster Jam Studios, I'm Scott Jordan with the season finale edition of the Weekly Update. World Finals has come and gone, and we can put a button on the first half of the 2022 year. But first, let's head back to Orlando, where we made history all over again. And to kick off the weekend, Tom Meents attempted a reverse forward momentum backflip, which was the 30th anniversary stunt, and he comes in hot, gets some huge air. I thought he had it, but he takes a bad bounce. However, the fans ate it up, and what a great way to start the first World Finals event since 2019. The weather was absolutely nasty on Saturday, but hey, it's Orlando. What do you expect? A huge delay caused the Great Clips Two-Wheel Skills Challenge to be moved to Sunday, but it made Spin Master racing a whole lot more interesting. In the semifinals, up first, it was Tristan England and Earthshaker taking the blue lane up against Ryan Anderson and Son of a Digger, powered by Hoonigan, getting the red lane. And we've got Pyro in Orlando. First turn, it's Earthshaker going tight, and then Son of a Digger goes over, but Earthshaker with the advantage at the halfway point. Tristan England can't get the turn here, backs up to the container, and Ryan Anderson makes him pay, taking the win and advancing. In the other matchup, it was Digger versus Digger as Brandon Vincent in the red lane took on Tyler Meninga in the blue lane. And at the over-under, it's Vincent with the lead. But check out Tyler Meninga in the red lane. He is done, and Vincent will get the win, but he can't get to the finish line. And with the weather on its way back, he wouldn't get to run for a time, so lane choice goes to Ryan Anderson in the final round. And with that, the heavens opened up to set the stage for one of the most epic racing finals in Monster Jam history. It was Ryan Anderson up against his former crew chief and longtime friend Brandon Vincent. And take a look and a listen to Cole Stevens and I with the live call for CNBC.
It is Ryan Anderson versus Brandon Vincent, the racing final, and we are off and running.
The most epic finals I've ever seen. They completely changed the track.
Ryan goes off the ramp.
This is the ramp.
Ryan goes off the ramp. Brandon Vincent with an advantage.
They are driving on ice right now. I guarantee you it's so... Oh, man, Ryan slinging that sucker in there.
Look at the turn from Ryan Anderson.
Brandon's got a lead.
Brandon Vincent has the lead.
And he's got both front tires across. I mean, this is Brandon's right now.
Final stretch here. He goes on the
Brandon,
over-under.
get both tires across.
Oh, Ryan Anderson spinning out.
Oh, my God.
They're both spinning out.
Oh, my God.
Look at Vincent.
Come on.
Brandon Vincent is your Spin Master Racing World Champion.
Oh, yes. How about that for World Finals?
Unbelievable.
Yes, sir.
So Brandon Vincent wins his first World Finals championship with his family on hand, and only one question remains.
Can you dig it?
The Great Clips Two-Wheel Skills Challenge opened the event on Sunday, and Tom Meents was looking to defend his championship from 2019. He lines up Max D for what looks like the maximum moonwalk, comes off the container with a stoppie, takes the nose wheelie out, smooth like butter, hits the moonwalk back to the container, but then Tom hits the gas and hits a two-wheel backflip. Over-rotates it, but makes the save. The crowd goes nuts, and Tom Meents wins his 13th World Finals championship. Tyler Meninga would finish second. Ryan Anderson finishes third to get the medals, and they make it onto the podium. In the Lucas Oil high jump competition, Ryan Anderson here, you want to talk about smooth. He redefines the term, trying something different, going with the technical approach. Son of a Digger with a brake check, 38.906. That is a new world record, and Ryan Anderson is the Lucas Oil High Jump World Finals champion. The third world title of his career, as he now trails his dad by 1 and his brother Adam by 2. As we take a look at the podium, Tom Meents takes second. Barney Musauer gets the medal for third place. What a weekend, though, for Ryan Anderson. He would finish on the podium in all 4 competitions. There was a different scoring system this year as we combined the fan judging with scores from professional judges, and Dennis Anderson, Lindsey Reed, and Scott Douglas were on hand to even the playing field just a little bit. Now the score to beat in freestyle was an 8.343, a little bit low as Tom Meents went looking for his 14th World Championship. He goes around the track, gets maximum air off the jammer. More big air for Tom. Then he hits a backflip, but he wasn't done as Max D goes back to the well a second time with another backflip. And check out the cartwheel save. That was enough to take the win. Tom Meents with his second World Championship on the weekend, and now the 14th of his career. Charlie Pauken and Ryan Anderson join him on the podium as Chucky's second place finish is his highest since winning the title in 2010. My final guest this season on the Weekly Update has forgotten more about the inner workings of a Monster Jam truck than most of us will ever know. It is my pleasure to welcome in from the classroom our CNBC pit reporter Leslie Mears to the show. Leslie, welcome finally to the Weekly Update.
I guess you guys did really save the best for last, but you catch me on a school day, so this is Teacher Leslie, and I gotta convert to Monster Jam Leslie.
It's always teacher Leslie. I don't know the difference here. So you and I and Colt had the chance to go back and forth all season from Stadium Championship Series Red to Stadium Championship Series Yellow. So looking back at both of those tours, were there any highlights that stand out to you as being special?
I think there's 3 from each tour. For me, I think that Tom's evolution of a new trick in that momentum moonwalk was pretty fantastic. I was actually in the stands sitting with the drivers the first time that he did it, and we thought that he was trying to launch some big air right at us. It was terrifying and amazing all at the same time. I think that Adam's comeback was pretty spectacular as well. We have to talk about the fact that he missed 4 events pretty much right in a row in those, 4 elements in 3 different events, and then was able to really come back and make a go of it. And nobody really talked about that. And I think that's because it was Adam and it was expected. But I mean, he really had some amazing, solid efforts towards the end of the season. And then the third one, we saw some huge air out of Todd LeDuc. I believe it was Detroit. And that was amazing for me. If we switch over to the other tour, I think Ryan's sidewall, onion, donut, spectacular was amazing. I think we also have to talk about Bari jumping over Gravedigger. Of course, that won him the Wow Factor Award. And then I think one that doesn't get talked about as much as it should is Tyler Meninga's freestyle in Miami. It was pretty spectacular and amazing, and the jumps that he was able to pull off and land were pretty special.
Let's talk about World Finals a little more. Tom Meents wins 2 more World Championships. Ryan Anderson gets another one, makes the podium all 4 competitions, and Brandon Vincent wins a racing championship. Of those 3 highlights, which one would you consider the defining moment of World Finals 21?
Look, it has to be Brandon Vincent winning racing, because Ryan Anderson was the odds-on favorite, for freestyle and racing for the entire weekend. And so for him to take him out, although there is a little controversy surrounding, that race, for him to take out Ryan and for Brandon Vincent to be crowned champ, I think that has to be the most spectacular surprise, fascinating, awesome moment, not to mention the conditions that both of them were racing in.
Well, do you think the controversy can work both ways in the fact that because Tyler Meninga was stopped in the race lane, didn't allow Brandon across the finish line in that semifinal, so lane choice automatically went to Ryan Anderson. We've seen in the past where opportunities have been there to rerun to get that time to go with lane choice, but it was given to Ryan, and then, there's still some controversy there. So it kind of works a little bit in both ways, wouldn't you say?
I mean, it does a little bit, but I think that once it started raining, that lane choice controversy goes out the window. I mean, weather is the great equalizer. A wet track changes the conditions completely, and it kind of makes things the same out there. So I don't know that lane choice really plays into that as much as the other controversy does.
One thing I learned from you as a mentor of mine is never stays too long in the past. So let's focus on the future of Monster Jam. It was just announced that World Finals 22 is heading to Nashville next year, and Nashville now becomes the 3rd host city for Monster Jam World Finals. So what do you think Nashville offers that Vegas and Orlando could not?
I think Nissan Stadium, is amazing. It's a nice big floor. Probably like in Indianapolis, I think, and so there's a lot of room there as well. For me and my family, we love Nashville. Even though my kids are 9 and 13, the city has a lot to offer people. Orlando and Vegas do too. But I think that there's something about like bringing monster trucks to the Midwest, right? And so we're bringing the grand finale to Nashville, to the kind of like a center of the country. It makes me think about roots, because we're not too far from the origins of monster trucks and a lot of monster truck history there. So I think that that's what Nashville has to offer, as well as a replica of the Parthenon that is an art museum too. How about that?
See, that's why you're a teacher. We learn something new every day. And also, just throwing it out there, you and I have a karaoke date sometime during that week at Alan Jackson, so don't miss it. You weren't there last time when I threw down some NSYNC that rocked the house.
And professional singers like you should not be allowed to karaoke with the likes of amateur choir girls like me. Just saying.
It's all in good fun, Leslie, all in good fun. You can watch Leslie Mears deliver all the breaking news every Saturday at noon on CNBC. Leslie, thank you for a great year, and I'm sure I'll see you again soon. Speaking of CNBC, the next episode of Monster Jam airs this Saturday, May 28th at noon Eastern. It's round 12 from Minneapolis on CNBC. And then stick around at 1 p.m. Eastern for a re-air of round 9 from Tampa. We have an entire summer full of Monster Jam on CNBC, and for the entire television schedule, you can go to monsterjam.com/TV and join us all summer long as we bring you the Road to World Finals on NBC Sports. Make sure you follow us on social media at Monster Jam and use the hashtag Monster Jam on all of your posts. World Finals may be over, but we are just getting started as summer events begin soon, both in the U.S. and internationally. If you're in Landover or Kansas City, I will be back behind the desk in my Monster Jam blue calling the action, and I look forward to seeing you there. For all of the live event dates and to purchase tickets and pretty much anything sport related, just head on over to monsterjam.com. We released the first weekly update on January 8th, and now 21 episodes later, we will call it a season. It's been a wild ride. I couldn't have done it without you. So thank you so much for joining me on the Road to World Finals, and hopefully I will see you next season right here on the Monster Jam Weekly Update.